All right, hi everybody. Here we go with another installment of Ozzy and Keats. John Keating here at the Oddside Ales Tap Room in Grand Haven, Michigan. There is the lovely and talented Chris Osgood. We are the O and the K. We're not great. We're just okay. And we are joined through the help of Podcast Nation in Troy, Michigan. Ozzy, it has been a technologically eventful day for you.
It has been. It was a struggle. I lost my capabilities, my iPad to use that properly. We had some issues. But I mean, you wanted to talk. The first time we tried this, or the second, you didn't even make it on. I think there was some extracurricular activity going on that day in Grand Haven, and but today I owned it.
Oh my
I
God.
mashed it. It took me about 25 minutes to get on. Is that right?
You had to leave the house and drive to another location and then get
Yeah.
another device and bring it back to the house and I'm looking at the images that are on the screen, and I've lost almost all of my color in my hair, and I've determined that I am now podcast gray, and it's
Yeah.
your fault. It's your fault that I am podcast gray because of the I guess the worrying you put me through trying to get these damn things done.
I don't understand how you can lose the accessibility to your emails and certain things on your iPad. And with other people, like I don't want to be like in.
It's somebody else's fault, right?
I just want my iPad to be able to Netflix movies when I'm on the road with the Red Wings, maybe some text, and that's about it. And to be able to do this while I'm on the road. That's all I want.
Yeah, nobody wants to think about what's on your computer when you're on the road. When you're on your computer when you're on the road, that's a disturbing thought.
I had a bunch of people at one of the Wings games come up to me at their relations, or they frequent the bar that you're at, and mention that you're there. Seriously.
Yeah, it's a great spot. Yeah, it's a coffee bar, all day,
Yeah.
and then, they pour a nice pint later in the day. Yeah, odd side ales. Yeah, we got to get you over here at some point.
Yeah.
Listen, when we he and I shockingly talk all the damn time, way too much we talk.
Yeah.
But we talk about what's going to be next on this podcast or who we're looking to have on. And one of the names that came up today
Yeah.
was Wayne Gretzky. That we should try to get Wayne Gretzky to be on the podcast.
We could ask the listeners too. They could give us some ideas.
Yeah, right. We got questions from them. We'll get to those in a second. But and I asked Ozzy, how many goals did Wayne Gretzky score against you? And so I looked it up.
How many goals did he get? How many?
3 in 10 games. 3 goals against you in 10 games. And in fact, the first win that you had in the NHL was against Wayne Gretzky. It was this week in 1993. But tell the kids the story of a goal that Wayne Gretzky scored against you.
St. Louis, and he shot him from the corner. And I grew up watching Wayne Gretzky play at Edmonton, and I scoured my elementary school looking for a Wayne Gretzky card, O-Pee-Chee. That was an impossible card to get, trying to make a trade for one. I had my stack of cards, my elastics. I'm trading goalies, and I love my goalies, but I was trading anything I could for a Wayne Gretzky card. And the funny thing with that is my brother brings this old box of cards over to my place in Canada. And there's a Wayne Gretzky card in there. He didn't even know we had it. It's worth a lot. Because you can use your phones, these things, and go like this over the card, take a picture. It will show you how much it's worth. It was worth a ton. But back to the story now. So we're playing this against St. Louis, and Gretzky banked one off somebody in, and I always admired how he could score from behind the net when I was watching all this other stuff. And he scored, and I was actually kind of impressed with it. But for some reason, Scotty didn't think it was so funny. And he says, "What do you think of that goal?" I said, "I think it was a pretty good play." And I kind of said that after the game. And the next day he calls me in. He goes, "You think that's funny, eh? You think that's funny?" I go, "What?" He goes, "You think Gretzky scored from there? You think making him look good, it looks good on you?" So he was still mad about the goal the next day, and also thinking that I thought it was okay that Wayne Gretzky scored on me. I think that was also 50% of it, that you think him looking good makes you look good, and that's okay. Like, he wasn't too happy with the way I handled that situation. So I thought, note to self, don't let Wayne Gretzky score on you when Scotty Bowman's your coach. That was
Okay. Well,
that was what I took.
yeah, he scored 2 more times against you, so that note to self went,
Meaningless
unanswered.
goals.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, were
Meaning
they?
Ovechkin had one
Oh,
against me and Gretzky 3. That's a pretty good
okay,
percentage.
okay. Um, but
Did a
did you
shot for
talk did you talk to Gretzky? Did you say to him, "Nice goal," or anything like that? Do you
I didn't
ever
talk to Gretzky a lot. I remember I went to the All-Star game in Boston, and he was on my team, and I was young, and there was, Ray Bourque and all these guys that I grew up watching play, and I always go to the points of when people ask me, "Well, were you ever nervous?" I go, "I was nervous my first game ever in Toronto. I was nervous my first ever playoff game against San Jose, and after that, I was nervous when I came back to Detroit my first game, and my first game back at the Joe. That's what I mean. And the other time I was nervous was when I was in that dressing room at the All-Star game in Boston, where all these guys were relaxed. They're veterans. They've done this a ton, like over 5 times. And Wayne Gretzky comes up to me and goes, "Hey, do you got $100 on you, kid?" And I didn't know what to say. I just said, "For what?" And he left, "For the trainers," he says. Like, I thought it was like he was asking me for $100 for something like he needed $100. I'm like, what does Wayne Gretzky need $100 for? Back when you're naive. So I think I was like, I went there with Scotty Bowman was the coach, Shanny, Fedorov, and Paul Coffey. And I found a picture at home when you always ask me about memorabilia. We
Wow.
got those awful purple jerseys on and a picture on the ice at Boston Gardens, and every single one of the guys signed it. So I'm like, that's one of the coolest things I've
That's
accidentally found
spectacular.
in my
Yeah.
base. So, I mean, I wish I had it. I could show you right now, but one day we'll get to that amongst other things, the t-shirts, the hats. We're going to get all that done too.
Yeah.
Be
The
a picture.
Ripple merch. Yeah, right.
We'll get
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
But really cool stuff. I keep remembering these things the more you joggle my mind. So thank you for that.
Okay. Um, but on your list of nervous nights, where
Yeah.
would you put your first night next to me on television?
Oh, that might have been more than playing.
No.
Yeah, because I knew
No.
how to play. I knew how to be a goalie. I knew what I had to do. It was just kind of whether you knew you would fit in or knew you could do it. And you didn't want to impress anybody. You really wanted to be in the NHL. When I did that, I had no idea how to do it. I was like, I think my first game was at our studios in Southfield, I believe. And actually, God bless Mickey Redmond. My first ever try at it was at the Joe up top of Mickey, shadowing Mickey. And I kept talking without the cough button on while Mickey and Ken were trying to do the game. And Mickey was loving it. And Mickey's so awesome. He was just laughing, that beautiful traditional laugh of his. He was like, yeah, he's laughing the whole time. And Ken was getting not mad, but I could tell, because Ken's very particular. He's very good at what he does. But I was continuously screwing up because if you know what it is, you have a box in front of you that's cough, talk back. And
Right.
I was hooked up for the first time.
You hit the wrong button. You pushed the
I
wrong
was
button. Oh my
flopping when I
God.
wasn't supposed to be talking. It was like I was mic'd up at the outdoor game again when I said the F word when Domi scored on me. It was the same stuff, and Mick just loved it. And then but my first one with you, it was camera 1, 2, and 3. I mean, I'll never forget. I didn't know how to put my earpiece on, and it was like I was in a NASCAR in the pits. I had the producer. I think somebody else was there with me. They're putting all this stuff on me, and I'm like, I don't even know what camera I'm looking at. You go, it's 1, and you're that's the main one, and I'm 3 and you're 2, right? I believe that's how it was.
Right.
And I just started talking, and I immediately and it's true. And I've talked to Jimmy Howard about this, who did a little bit of this. My palms were drenched. It was like I was on the gondola at Banff Hot Springs when I went in this little gondola in this little cart, and it was shaking back and forth, and I'm scared of heights. And Jen is like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I was soaked, my hands, my armpits, and when you get a little sweat in the crotch area too, I was drenched. I needed new underwear. I was like, but when I did that with you, not sweating that much, but I was like sweating a bit. I was, and I don't get like that. I was like, oh my gosh, like that was probably one of the most nervous I've ever been, other than
Oh
when I
my
had to do
God.
a play in 6th grade and I screwed my lines up and I did say F. I swore right in front of everybody. So
As a 6th grader?
yeah, I had to do a play.
No.
And I didn't have a very big part because I didn't talk a lot. I was very shy. I couldn't even get through 3 lines, said it wrong, and then I forgot what my line was, and I said, the F word loud, right for everybody. You know, when you're a kid, it's like that Diary of a Wimpy Kid show. That's what I was like. Yes, humiliated, went home. Like, yeah. So yeah, I was. It's amazing that I'm doing what I do now. I could have never predicted it or never planned it. Even being on this show with you. But yeah, that first one was tough. I wish we could show it and we had the video of it. We
Oh
could
my
look
God.
at how atrocious I was, and you were trying to make me laugh and trying to get me going until you told me the all-time joke of all times, the Dixie Chicks joke, but we won't repeat it. You can figure that out.
I now have to unsee the memory of you with a soaked crotch sitting next to me in the
Next to you.
studio as we were working
And
together.
that, remember how cold that studio was too? It was
And I never
hot.
hear. Well, I never want to hear soaked crotch from you ever
So-
again.
I'm going to use that often. I'm going to shirt. We'll get Ripple. It might be soaked crotch.
Oh man. All right.
Who says
to
that?
the-
Now that I think about it,
Nobody says that. I got to work on the fact that we're going to be joined by the head hockey coach at Michigan State University. As we record this,
Good
the
stuff.
Spartans are the #1 team in the country, and Adam Nightingale has done a sensational job in East Lansing. Former Red Wings assistant. He's going to join us coming up. But all right, you brought up the our TV experience shared. We have a question from Carrie Robitaille. Rabitaille. Let me get her name right. First of all, we love you guys in the UP. So they're from the Upper Peninsula.
Yes.
The pregame
Love
and
it up there.
postgame
Love
just isn't the same, she said. And she wants to know, Ozzy, why aren't you doing Light the Lamp anymore? We love the banter between you guys, and it's fun to follow. They've been doing their own Light the Lamp for 5 years, and I'm almost always last, she said, and I am the John Keating of our group. I won 1 year. I wasn't awful every year.
What was the name of the lady that sent the great question?
Carrie Rabitaille.
All right, Carrie, first of all, you never ever compare yourself to John Keating. You're better than that.
You're better than that. Yes. Everybody's better than that.
On Light the Lamp, that is stuff that's out of our control. Is that correct, John? Really?
It is. Well, it's not. I have no control anymore. So yeah.
But
it's a decision that made it, that it ran its course, I think, and they decided to go in another direction.
But we did have a lot of fun with it. We had the inside jokes. Ken Daniels was in last 1 year, so we decided to really ride him the entire year. He wasn't too happy with us whatsoever, and he was getting angry at John and I more often than we can say. But that was part of it. I believe he had his dog on a few times that year, correct? Right?
He did. Yeah. Jack Daniels. Yeah.
But I always loved doing it because there was always the inside jokes and the inside stuff to go on, where Mickey would always pick the same guy as somebody or forget who he was picking.
Wasn't paying attention. Yeah, right.
Or was just flat out late doing it, and you were always in last place. So last year, you and I had a nice battle, and Trevor was always picking the guy he interviewed, and we had fun with it. So
yeah,
I do miss that aspect of what we did for sure.
My job was always to make sure that the person leading was just taking a beating from us. I mean, because he was who we wanted to be, or you make the guy who is in last place feel bad because that's that's part of our charm, I think.
Your job was to be a lesser Jerry Springer during that.
Yes.
That part.
The late R.I.P. Yeah.
Jerry Springer.
All right, one last one, and then we'll get Adam Nightingale in here. This is from Joshua Dickey. Will there be another Red Wings Live filmed at Ozzy's shack? That always felt like a special night, and it was hilarious when Mick was shooting pucks at a padless Ozzy.
That was great, and we just make that. I liked most about that one. One you were there. Mickey's spectacular when he's there. Sit in the shack and we relax. We're having good times. It's kind of a relaxed atmosphere. Looks good. And behind the scenes, everybody, producers and our tech guys do a great job. But we did miss it last year. We wanted to do it. We just couldn't get around to getting what we had to do to pull it off, essentially. Is that right? But we had and a lot of that time, John, we were just making up stuff. Like we had certain things we were doing, but we'd ad-lib a lot of stuff, which was fun. And we had a really good time, and you were a good host.
Well, unless you're the host, and then it's exhausting because I'm trying to get everybody to where they're supposed to be. And oh my God. Oh my God.
It's great.
Yeah, herding cats. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and we always had,
Um,
we always had some old 6-pack cartons that ended up being empty by the end of the night, which was
but the
pretty
but
good
the
to see.
parking at Ozzy's
That was the
place,
best ever. I
that's a
got
chef's kiss.
I'm
You know,
working my
the
ass off.
special parking that we
Yeah,
had.
I'm working, cleaning the rink, doing it, everything else, of course, just by myself. And I'm looking, I remember I'm by my shack because it was icy. So, it's like a Hollywood star. We got to make sure everything's set up for this guy who I'm talking to right now. So we're chiseling the ice. We got to get the ice off. We got to get the icy. We don't want him to slip and blah, blah, blah. So we're chiseling the ice. I look up and there's a car. I'm like, who in the F is that driving in my backyard? He pulls right up behind my rink, like as if we should have had a sign there with a star on it, like John Carson would have had or somebody.
Reserves.
A
Yeah.
reserve for John Keating. Nobody's parked in my backyard on the grass before. And Jenna called him,
In the
who the hell?
grass.
Jenna called him, who the hell's car is that in the backyard? It was you. I'm like, I called her. I said, Jenna, yeah, he's drinking already again. That's why. What's the difference? He's either taking some type of drug or drinking while he's doing it.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
Did the grass bounce back though? Is the
Oh, no,
lawn okay? Oh
we
yeah,
can
it's
have 10 of
okay.
that. Oh, sorry.
Jeez.
Geez, don't have her.
All right. Let's head to East Lansing and bring in Adam Nightingale, the head coach of Michigan State. All right, and there he is, the head coach of the Michigan State Spartans, who just happened to be the number one team in the country right now. The Michigan State Spartans do. Adam Nightingale joins us from East Lansing. How cool is that? I know it's early in the season, but how cool is that to be the coach of the top-ranked team in all of the land?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we were excited about our group, right? And I think rankings, we try to focus on things that really matter. Our fans are excited, our alums are excited, and for our guys, I mean, it's so early. I mean, I think you look at last year, about 3/4 of the year we were ranked that, and it finished the way it finished. So we just got to focus on keep getting better. And I mean, I think it is a good thing, right? You want to be one of those teams that's it's respected. And I go back to a little bit goes off a previous year too. Like I think our first year here, we took over and we started out 9-2, and we never were ranked in the top 20, right? And so we had to build a little bit of a reputation up, and but yeah, it's always about the next game, and rankings are fine, but we try not to focus on them.
And hey, what could you take to Michigan State from when you're an assistant on the bench? We know I know you're the video in the back room in the trenches with the wings. That's almost more pressure than that. The coaches are all over you to do certain things each and every day. But I know the hours you put in with that and what you did to get where you are now. What's the difference between coaching NHL players to college players?
I think our week is different, right? Like we're able to practice a lot more, and your ability to really help guys. Our guys are young players, right? And they got to keep growing their game, and you're really able to do that through practice. Or, in the NHL, I mean, it's hard to really practice a ton, right? And work on stuff. So you got to do a lot through video and trying to teach guys. But I think at the end of the day, I think what I really learned, I was thankful. I look at my coaching career, right? I got a chance to be around some really good people. And
Yeah.
help me grow. And, Blash was great with, guys don't want things sugar coated. And like, I think when I worked in the league, the best players, they wanted it black and white and not sugarcoat. Hey, this is good, or this needs to be better. And, trying to carry that on to our guys, right? I think the top players are hungry to get better, and they want to be coached.
Well, you grew up in Sheboygan, and you started at Lake State, and then found your way to Michigan State. Was coaching something that you thought was going to be your end game, or like every kid who played hockey in Michigan, you just wanted to be a hockey player?
Yeah, I think that's it for sure. I wanted to play hockey, and I grew up, like you said, in Sheboygan. We had an outdoor rink, and my couple brothers that were really into it. And my parents didn't play, but they both were college athletes, so I think they instilled us, at a young age that, work ethic and could be competitive and be a great teammate. And, I think you're so focused on playing. And I never really thought about coaching. I was, I played a couple years after college in the East Coast League, and my wife was pregnant, and we didn't have insurance in the off season. So I had to get a real job. And I took a job with a construction company, and I was a superintendent for a construction company down in Charlotte for a year. And, you know what, and then I just really missed, being part of a team, and I called around. I ended up getting a start at Shattuck St. Mary's. I coached the 4th midget team there. I taught economics. I coached lacrosse. I was a dorm parent, ran the summer camps, wore a ton of different hats. But as soon as I got into it, definitely didn't know what I was doing. Not that I know now, but I think I was hooked right off the bat.
What's the culture at Shattuck St. Mary's? Because obviously it's hugely successful in terms of delivering not just successful hockey players, but successful people who go through that program.
Yeah, I was fortunate, right? I look back. I mean, you trying to get into coaching, and I mean, it's tough to get in one, but it's also, I mean, I'm thankful you get into the right spots, right? And it's a no promises place. It's one of the last places in the world that they still have a true tryout. Like, no one's guaranteed a spot. These kids all come to school. There's a tryout week, and you make the team. You earn it, and so I think that side of it, it's there's not a lot of frills to it. I think there's a lot of substance to there. So even the shooting, right? They don't have a fancy shooting room. It's out on the tennis courts outside, and there's the story that goes around there. Sidney Crosby went to school there. Wednesdays was chapel day. And the rink rats would hear whack, whack, whack out on the tennis courts, and it'd be the middle of the winter. Sidney was out there. He had shoveled that tennis court so he could shoot pucks, but he had his suit on to wear to chapel, right? Because he wanted to get 3 more extra minutes out there shooting pucks. And I think there's still that blue collar mentality there. And I think that's really one of the best gifts you can give young players, right? Is, hey man, life's not easy. Life's not about promises. You got to go out and earn things. And I think really at its root, that's what that place is about.
Do you have any good, I was only a coach I wasn't really a coach. I guess I was a goalie coach for a little while with Blash. But Traverse City, what do the coaches do in Traverse City? I know what the players did, but what do you, as a coach, is any good stories? I know what the reporters did.
I think those are the stories that we want.
Yeah. No,
I got some sun. Sure you did, John.
Yeah.
What do you guys do as coaches?
What a spot, though. I mean, Trevor, what a beautiful, I mean, especially a Michigander to be able to go up. But I like golf, don't love it. I'm more of a fisherman. So, and actually Dan Bilesma and I, we would go down and fish the Jordan River, which is by my parents' cabin. And funny story with that. So we started to get some traction. We were catching some brook trout, and some of the other coaches wanted to come, and we had some action. We had some pictures, and I told Disco, I'm like, hey, let's get like a couple Jack's pizzas. We'll get a grate. We'll make a fire. We'll cook the fish, and we'll cook the pizza, and it'll be an unbelievable day. And everyone was pumped up. So they all pile in my truck. We get down there, and we're catching fish. I got the pizza ready. I start making a fire, and I had no idea. It was dark at this point. I had built that whole fire on a bed of poison ivy.
No.
Well, then we get back.
Go green.
Oh, I know, my gosh. So then I'm super allergic to it. So we get back to the hotel. I'm covered in mud. It was raining. I mean, I didn't know at that time. And I mean, I had the worst breakout to the point where, I mean, it started coming on my face, and then I'm on the bench, and it was all over my body. So I think we learned a little lesson, but I thought it was awesome to be able to get out, and we fished the Pure Marquette and for salmon, and we golf for sure. But being able to, especially in the fall up in Traverse City, you can't beat it.
No.
How many other coaches' voices do you have in your head that you hear, or that you played under or worked with, and you said to yourself, I want to do that, I want to include that going forward, but not that? How much of that is part of the growth process for Adam Nightingale?
For sure. No, I mean, I think it's not where you're at, it's who you're with. And I've been lucky to be around some really good people and coaches, and even growing up, right? Not just my hockey coaches, my baseball coaches growing up. And, one of the things that really stood out again, and growing up in a small town is, it's about the team, and it's not about your stats, and it's about effort. You respect the officials, and and I look through when I started getting, I may go back to my time at Shattuck. I mean, Tom Ward is about as good a coach as you're going to find. I mean, he's coached all the greats that have come through there, and he's really stayed disciplined to coaching fundamentals. I try to do that here, right, and make sure we don't skip over steps with our guys. Like our guys, obviously they want to win here, but they want to play in the best league in the world, and our job is to try to help them understand how to be a winning hockey player. And that's there's not a lot of fluff in that stuff, right? It's habits and details. So learning that as a young coach from Tom, and then working for Dan Bilesma and Buffalo and Blash and in Detroit, and all the assistants we had there to learn and grow. And I think you're always pulling. And there's also some things you probably wouldn't do. Obviously if you're an assistant, you respect the head coach, and you're going to support. And you'll have your conversations in the back room if you don't disagree. But you got to keep those in mind when you do get an opportunity. There's going to be some things you really want to make sure you do, and maybe some that you don't.
Yeah, that's interesting. From a coaching standpoint, what's the biggest thing you learned that you took to Michigan State from your coaching days in the NHL and your experiences there that you now use?
Yeah, I think about this a lot. I probably use more of my time at Shattuck and the national team because
really?
of the age. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
and the way the week's set up, and
Mhm.
one of the things I think, college is a great avenue for players because we're able to practice as much as we are, and
Yeah.
we're able to be in the weight room. And I go back to when I was at Shattuck. My job was to help players develop. I mean, I wasn't getting judged if we won or lost. You got to help kids get better, have a good experience.
Yeah.
Same with the national team, really. I mean, so I think though that whole foundation of like have a long-term approach to your development. It's not about just trying to win the weekend. And we've kind of taken that model and brought it here. And not that we're the only places doing this, but I mean, our guys test the strongest at the end of the year. We don't taper. We're lifting 4 days a week and continuing to push. So I think that side and having some patience. Like I think when you work with young players, development doesn't happen overnight, and you gotta have some patience as a coach, and you have your non-negotiables for sure. Like be a great teammate. You better be working hard and sweating a lot, but mistakes are going to happen, and that's our job to coach them. I think my time with younger players, I feel like I have a pretty good feel for that.
Here's a question that I've always wanted to ask any college coach these days, and it has to do with NIL, name, image, likeness, because these kids now have the ability to be paid. How much of management of a payroll effectively is a part of Michigan State's hockey program?
Yeah, I think that's the reality of all college athletics now. It's a part of it, and we've tried to stay disciplined. And at the end of the day, I say this to our guys, just life skill in general, right? They like never make decisions based on finances. And if you're looking for money to make you happy, it's going to fall short, right? It can make life easier for sure at times, but when you're making a decision and looking at a school, you want to make decisions based on substance. So like things that have substance, I don't think money has substance. I think it's vapor. It can go away in a second, but I think having a staff that's committed to helping you get better, making sure, are you nutritionally, are you getting what you need? Are you getting what you need in the weight room? And trying to find that balance. So we definitely, we don't want kids to come here because of money, but I do think I support kids, getting a little bit more here. I remember being a college student and, maybe being able to go out and grab a pizza, and the guys make more. I understand that, but we definitely try to make sure that, hey, you're not coming here because of this.
But you have to convince not only the kids, but their parents and their agents, I guess, of that same message,
Yeah,
right? And that can be the tricky part of being a head coach.
for sure. But I think, you know what, if you don't think that way, it probably wouldn't work here, right? So,
Yeah.
we've lost some kids for sure when we've had those conversations, um, and it's not a fit, and that's fine. Like we're not on. I've told myself when we got here, I'm not going to beg anyone to come here. You got to want to come here. Obviously, we're recruiting players, but again, I think too is starting a relationship out with a 16 or 17-year-old and making it about money is long term is not the right thing.
So now, after two big wins against BU, I love that, by the way. Who is more popular on campus right now? You or Tom Izzo? Got to be close. It has to be. I mean, do people realize how big those wins are on campus?
This is as we record this. As we record this, Michigan State won
Yeah.
back-to-back
watched the
against
game.
Boston University. This is going to run in a week or so, just so everybody knows. So
Yeah.
with an incredible overtime win.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
at
a
their
wild
place.
finish. No, Tom is Michigan State. There's no doubt. Like there's,
Yeah.
and I tell you what, you talk about again, Lucky growing as a coach. I mean, his office is right over here, and I can go over anytime he stops by the rink, and he's gotten to know our guys, and he'll come. If we're playing at home and it's 7 a.m. and I'm doing video or getting stuff ready, he'll be knocking on my door asking me if we lost, what the heck happened, or if we won, what's going on. He's into it. So. And I get to pick his brain. His ability to like have a feel for what's going on with our team is unbelievable. Like he's obviously not he doesn't know hockey, but he understands team, and I think that's what he does best with the basketball program is make it a team. And for me, I can ask him questions, and He took over when basketball was in a similar type spot, right? They were trying to get it
Sure.
going, and
Mhm.
obviously what he's done, the repeatability of his teams and the consistency, his alumni, how much they come back. I mean, he is the model for any program. Doesn't matter hockey, basketball, whatever university. And again, he's another one I feel fortunate to be around.
We have lots of Red Wing fans who obviously consume this podcast because apparently they have some fascination with Chris Osgood. I don't get that myself, but that's just me. So they're concerned about your goalie, Trey Augustine, who is a Red Wings draft pick. Give us an update on what kind of a kid Trey is and how you have seen his trajectory continue to move upward.
Awesome person, awesome family. He's a Michigander for sure. You know, you look at it, just his character, and he's low maintenance. I got to know Trey back to when he was 15 years old. I was coaching the '04 national team 17 year, and Trey was looking to try to make the '05 team, and so he'd come and practice with us, a couple times a month, and his poise really stood out right off the bat. I mean, he doesn't really get the moment, doesn't fluster him at all, and he just continued to get better. And I give him credit when he decided to come here. A lot of young hockey players are just hockey lemmings, and they follow the crowd. And we had just taken over. We needed to get better for sure. And for a goalie to sign up for that, I give him credit. He was really the first domino to fall for us. And he's a great teammate, and he's gotten better every year he's been here. And I give him credit for having some patience too. Right, he could have signed, and I supported whatever
right.
he wanted to do, but he's definitely our backbone.
And you were delighted, obviously, that he decided to stay, right? I mean, that's
Yeah. And I was really clear with, and talking with Detroit too, like, Trey, hey, you want to sign, I'll support you. I'm not here to try to talk you out of anything. You gotta, whatever you decide to do, you got to be 2 feet in. You can't sign and wonder, hey, what if I would have went back or come back and wish I would have signed. Like, whatever you do it 2 feet in, and it'll be a great year. And he's done that.
Did it frustrate you or delight you that Western Michigan won the national championship last year?
I was excited. Yeah, I was excited. I got a ton of respect for Fursh. We spent a ton of time together, working together in Detroit.
Yeah,
I think he's done a
right.
heck of a job there. I think it's awesome for our state. I remember being a young hockey player, growing up in Sheboygan, and Lake State won it in '88, '92, lost in the finals in '93, and won in '94. And those were like, to sit and watch a local team on TV.
Sure.
That was a big deal. And I think the long term for our sport, we need, the more players you have playing, the more likelihood there's going to be better players from the state of Michigan. And if we're going to be a good program, we need the players from the state of Michigan to be good. And so I had a ton of respect for what they've done there and what First has done. And they're going to continue down that path.
Nice. I was looking at your playing career. What's that? Greensville Growl?
Yeah.
That is classic.
Oh yeah. 3 R's.
Where is that anyways? I don't even know where that is.
Greenville, South Carolina.
Oh, I love the name.
Yeah,
Sounds
yeah. It
beautiful.
was a great city. You know what? I feel I want to get back there because it was beautiful. It's right on. There's a river down there, and we were. I was lucky. I got another one. John Marks was my coach. I don't know if you remember. Yeah, Marksy. And he made hockey fun, and I think that's sometimes gets lost, right? As I know we get judged on winning and all that, but part of your job as coach, it doesn't mean it's easy, but guys should love being at the rink and can't wait to get to the rink, and you should have to peel them off the ice. And that was how Marksy was. Like, guys loved being there and made it fun. And, that's definitely something I've taken from him.
Was the East Coast Hockey League, in your experience then, slap shot-ish? I mean, was it, describe the East Coast Hockey League in your experience for a couple of years.
I loved it. And I tell our guys, and I know, I think play as long as you can until they take your skates off you. I don't care how much you're making. Money will be there. Like, if you're passionate about it. And I was lucky though. I was in good spots that were run well, right? It was run professionally. They didn't cut corners. Obviously, you're not making a ton of money, but the buildings were full, and I had a great experience. A lot of great teammates and guys that a lot of guys, some guys that ended up moving on to play in the NHL. And actually, Mike Morrison was our goalie. I didn't see him. He lives out in Boston. Do you remember Mo?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
that year, Edmonton didn't have an American League team, and so Mo was going up and down from Greenville to the Oilers, and I think he got goalie of the week when he went up, and then he'd come down
Yeah.
come
Wow.
down to us and he didn't have any defense in front of him, you get frustrated. But I loved it. I think when guys, like Tanner Kelly moved on, he's playing in Toledo, and I told him when he was talking about it, I said, you're gonna love it. You go down there and play. And obviously you want to try to move up, but I think if you can play as long as you can play.
Your story is so cool, and we've watched you build this program. But for anybody who hasn't been to your games at home on campus, describe what a Michigan State home game is like from the perspective of the head coach.
Yeah, so we're pretty fortunate. Obviously, a historical building, right? It was built in 1974. Ron Mason, really the credit to he really
Sure.
put this program on the map and built it to what it is. And we had fallen on some tougher times, but it's funny. Same concept we talked to our guys about. You got to earn things. When we got here, I went to the first marketing meeting, and I'm like, listen, I don't know anything about marketing, and this will be the only meeting I'm coming to. I trust you guys to do your job. If I sit in this marketing meeting, we're going to be a bad hockey team. Like I got to focus on coaching. But the only request I have is no free tickets. So no one's, we're not faking a crowd here. No free tickets. So the first about 2 months, we had about 1,000 people at our game. And I remember going home to my wife being like, this might have been a bad idea. And
Jeez.
and then
Wow.
at Christmas, we sold out, and I think it's been 40, 45 sellouts straight since then. And our student sections is 2,000 students. That sold out in 2 minutes. Every game the rest of the year is sold out, and it's loud. Like the students show up, they camp out the night before, and they're ready to and sprint in, and the Munsters do a great job. And what I've really liked is because of Ron, he really made this a hockey town, and you have some smart hockey people. And when you come to our game, they acknowledge a good back check, they acknowledge a good block shot, a good pass, and it's almost like you're playing in, LCA is very similar, or a Canadian market, right, where you have some fans that really respect the game and understand the game. And our guys are fortunate, and we tell them, hey, you gotta earn the crowd every night, right? We're not entitled to having people at our game, and people have to make decisions with their finances, and we got to make sure we're not going to win every game, but our crowd's going to see our best.
Hey, Nighty, thanks for your time. We're delighted to get the chance to visit with you. We've certainly followed your rise from our times together at when you were with the Wings, and have seen you build something really special in East Lansing, and we wish you all the best going forward.
Thanks, boys. Yeah, appreciate you having me.
Adam Nightingale, the head coach of Michigan State. We'll continue in a minute. Well, it's cool when you see somebody that you knew as a young assistant coach continue to take the steps required to go back to his alma mater and to have the success that Michigan State is enjoying. It's great for Adam Nightingale, isn't it?
Isn't that great stuff? I was with Adam Nightingale for a few years. I was coaching with Blash in Grand Rapids, but I was still playing. He was our video guy. Just growing. Was in Shattuck, so he had to work his way up, and he's a real good coach. Whenever I see him at the rink, there's people around him. He's a very approachable guy and likable. So can't be happier for his success he's having with Michigan State for sure.
Well, it's interesting that he has Trey Augustine, and Red Wing fans are very anxious to find out if Trey Augustine is going to make his way to the NHL in our not too distant future. What have you seen from this kid?
Poise, outstanding at the True World Juniors he played in. I love the way he just plays. They lost a couple of tough games in the NCAA tournament the last few years. Hasn't seemed to phase him whatsoever. I always say, like, when somebody asks me about him or fans, the biggest compliment I give is I'll never forget. I was in Montreal, and Jim Bedell goes, "You got to come watch this goalie," and we went out and watched him, and it was Carey Price when he was a rookie, and he looked poised and real calm and looked the part, and that's who I compare. That's what Trey Augustine kind of looks like right now at a young age. I don't want to put any pressure on him, but the comparables are there. He just needs some experience. He's calm under pressure when things are chaotic. Like myself, we stay calm and cool and
Jeez, I don't know about that. Not today. That wasn't the case today.
No,
as we
not today
recorded
at
this.
all.
Oh
That's
my
why
gosh.
I said it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but he is definitely going to be a I mean, it's a transition from obviously from university, Michigan State to the next level. But his attitude, how he carries himself, his poise are going to make that transition even easier. So hopefully he has a bright future.
Well, that might be the one trait required for any great goalies, and you're certainly in this, is poise, the ability to not get overwhelmed by a moment and not get overwhelmed if things aren't going your way on a particular night.
And have a short memory, especially now. And now everything's viewed. I mean, remember, we did video, but it would usually die the next day. Now it stays there and people can see it. And so a lot of time you can win 4-1. They'll go over that one goal you let in nonstop. So you gotta have a short memory, you gotta have poise, you gotta be calm, and you gotta be confident in yourself. And he's all of those things. And Nightingale's right. Every time I see him year to the next year, even in 3-month increments, he looks better and better and better. But I take a couple instances. One, World Junior is a lot of pressure on the young kids, and they're very young. And there's a lot of flurries late in a few games where they're up by a goal, and he stayed calm and poised and wasn't really moving and looked real good in there. So those are good signs if you're a Red Wing fan to have a goalie of that kind of that looks the part like Carey Price and has the potential to possibly be that one day.
All right, two things. I'm getting a call from animal control in your town. Very worried about the dogs in your house because we can hear them. Are we okay there? I mean, is there dog fighting that's going on in your house? There some gambling?
We've had cougar roaming around the main floor here. Just got in the house.
Make up your own joke there. Make up your own joke there.
So the dogs are barking. They got a little bit excited, but the dogs get excited when Jenna gets home. When I get home, it's not the same reaction, if you can imagine. But it isn't. When she's home, it's like, oh my gosh, we haven't seen her forever. When I get home, there's not a lot of movement.
Do you think we can edit out soaked crotch from this podcast? Should we?
But why would you? No. Because that's not even a word, and I've never said it before. I can't believe I said it. I don't even know where that came from. That's why you can't. If it was something that was
hey, how would you describe that? How would you describe that podcast? Well, it's they throw soaked crotch around. It's got to be okay. Ripple and soaked crotch. It's got to be okay. Yeah.
New word associations.
Oh my God.
Organically happening here. That's what we're all about. That's why we're just okay. So you got to keep it.
Well, and I don't think there's podcast police, so I think we're generally okay, other than our spouses, perhaps. But that's a whole nother story. So
yeah,
that is going to do it for us. We'll try to be better the next time. For Chris Osgood, I'm John Keating. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Ozzy and Keats.
Ozzy and Keats is produced by Zachary Davis and Bill McAllister and proudly distributed by Podcast Nation in Troy, Michigan.